my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and these are the hottest Golden Age comics of the week. Number 10 on the list is Shocking Suspense Stories number 6. This is from EC Comics, 1953. It's a Wally Wood cover, and it's a classic cover. It's got you got the hooded figures. Looks like some kind of KKK Klan meeting or something where this poor woman is potentially going to be lit on fire. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely a crazy cover. And this was a 2.0 that sold, and it sold for a best offer on eBay for $1,453. Now the original price was $1,600, so they got like $200 off. But this is still a new record for this book. The prior record for this book was set back in 2022 for $1,399. So a new record. This book keeps on going up. It's a really popular cover because of that bondage and hooded figures. These EC books are actually pretty common for the Golden Age. There are 321 of them on the census, and 303 are universal blue labels. Number 9 on the list is Torchy number 5, which is actually right above me. This was a book from Quality Comics from 1950. It is a Bill Ward cover, and it's a classic Good Girl art cover. This is one of the few where there was 6 issues for Torchy, and this is one of the few where Bill Ward actually did the cover. And it's a great cover. You get to see a little bit of the sexy side of Torchy. This was an 8.0 that came up for sale, and it sold for $1,677, which is slightly down, slightly, the most slightly you could ever imagine. The prior record for this sale was set back in April of 2023 for $1,680. So it's down $3. So not much of a drop, but it is slightly down, $3. So basically this book is holding its own at this price. And it's always been a pretty popular title. There are 37 of these on the census, and 36 of them are universal blue labels. Number 8 on the list is 4-Color number 16. This is from Dell, 1941. It is the first appearance of Mickey Mouse in comics, and also comic books where it's actually comic size. There's earlier magazine appearances, but it's also has cameo appearances of both Minnie and Pluto. So very major key for Disney collectors. This was a 3.5 that sold, and it was a conserved book. It sold really cheaply, actually, for this book. It sold for $2,111. Now, that's actually a record because there are no previous sales in this grade. But typically, a blue label would sell for around $9,000. And that was what it sold for back in 2021. So this is a fairly low price. I would have expected this book to sell for around $4,000, or maybe $4,500. Usually, with conserved grades, you get about half the price of a blue label, which is a bit harsh, but that's the way it is. The conservation on this book was really all about actually conserving the book. It was a lot of cover reinforcement and in general maintenance of the book. So kind of harsh that it didn't get a better price, but I think a lot of people get bothered by that conservation label. And that's why sometimes you don't get the prices that you'd expect. I was actually bidding on this one, but I missed the last bid. I actually was going to bid at the last moment, but I missed it. So I missed out on a really great deal. So this was, there are 126 of these on the census, and 104 of them are universal blue labels. Number 7 on the list is Punch Comics number 20. This is from Harry A. Kessler from 1947. It is a Joe Beck and Otto Eppers art, has Joe Beck and Otto Eppers art. I'm not sure who did the cover, but it is a classic cover because it is one of the few Golden Age covers that actually has nudity on the cover. Now it's very it's very hard to see the nudity, but the this big rock is basically carrying a whole bunch of women, and they're all bare-breasted. It's pretty minor, but it is one of those classic covers. This book usually commands pretty big money, and this was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for $2,137. Now, the previous record for this book was set back in 2022 for $2,640, so it's down about $500 from the previous record. But actually, it's even worse than that because there was another sale in 2022 for 4.5 where it sold for $3,360. So it's down like a lot, even below what the 4.5 had sold for. Way down. I'm not sure if this was just a steal where somebody just picked it up, where they got a pretty great deal on it, but it was definitely a really low price. There's only 46 of these on the census, and 43 of them are universal blue labels. Another potential, this next book is another steal of the week, actually. This was a Planet Comics number 35. It is from Fiction House, 1945. It is a Lily Renee cover, and it's also the first appearance of Mista of the Moon, who becomes a kind of major character within the Planet Comics series. Now, if you're not familiar with Planet Comics, it is one of the best known sci-fi titles within the Golden Age. It is typically the one that most collectors go after if they like sci-fi and Good Girl. So it's definitely a major title, and Lily Renee is a well-renowned artist. This was a 8.0 that sold, and it sold for $2,953.03. And it was a especially nice copy of this comic. Not just was it an 8.0, but it had actually a better color strike than normally you would see in Planet Comics. So Fiction House had one of these issues where the rumor goes that they would let the ink kind of dry out. So late as the print run was going, what would happen is you would gradually get less and less color in the comics. So even though they're high grade, they might not look, they look a little faded. Instead of being a bright orange, the planet was maybe a yellow. And this was the bright orange, so it was like early in the print, like the printing process for this book, and it was a nice looking copy. Now, why I call it a steal of the week? Well, the previous record for this book was set back a week ago. 1 week. 1 week. And it was for a not so bright color one. And it sold for $4,800. So this is down like $1,800, almost $1,900 from a week ago. So that's pretty major. And even a 7.5 had sold back in October of 2023 for $4,560. So this is down from even the 7.5. I think somebody just got a steal on this one because it had great colors, and it's in that really high grade. Somebody got a really good deal on this one. So there's 64 of these on the census, and 63 of them are universal blue labels. Just a really great book. Number 5 on the list is Detective Comics number 67. This is from DC Comics 1942, and it's a Jerry Robinson cover. It's the first Penguin cover as well, and it also includes an ad, a half-page ad for Wonder Woman 1. So lots of stuff going for this book. It's actually kind of a weird cover too. You got the penguin on a ostrich, which is kind of weird. But this was a 6.0 that sold, and it was restored 6.0. a lot of these Golden Age books, especially these major keys, got restored, and this is one of those ones. It is an A1 restoration, which means that it's slight and minor. The restoration included color touch, glue on cover, tear seals, and reinforced, which doesn't sound like minor, but that's what it was. And it sold for $3,200. This is also down from prior sales. There was a sale in February of 2022 for $3,975. So kind of down compared to other restored sales. That's a restored sale. And the last sale for this book was actually a little bit down from that. It was back in October of 2023 for $3,479. So it's actually down from even just recent sales. So this book is kind of on a downward trend. Now, if this was in a blue label, there are no sales history for blue label 6.0s, but there was a 5.5 that sold recently back in 2021 for $9,411. So you can see how restoration really does impact the price that you get for this book, about a third of the price. That's typical when you get into the higher grades with restored books, that it really, really starts hurting the price. Yeah, just a book that I would have loved to own. This is another one that's high on my want list. There are 94 of these on the census, and 78 of them are universal blue labels. Number 4 on the list, another another EC title, Crime Suspense Stories 22. This is from EC 1954. It's a Johnny Craig cover, and it is like a notorious cover because it's the decapitation cover. It's probably the most famous decapitation cover of all comics. It is one that was mentioned in the Senate hearings and actually led to the downfall of the Golden Age of comics. I talk about this one a lot on my channel because it is like one of the grails for the Golden Age because of its historical significance. This was a 1.5 that sold, and it sold for $3,378. Now, actually, this one was on eBay, and it had a best offer deal where you could basically, the original price was $3,860. So the person, I guess, asked for $500 off, and they got it. But the interesting thing, the person that sold this book actually had just recently bought it back in July of 2023 for $3,650. The exact same book. So they actually undercut themselves. I don't know why they sold it at a loss, but who knows? It could be something with the economy where people are just selling off their books and sometimes giving away books at a loss. So a $300 loss from the prior sale that they actually paid for. Bit of an interesting one. There are 429 of these on the census, and 387 of them are universal blue labels. That's what I've been talking about. You'll notice the numbers are much higher with the EC titles compared to the other Golden Age. Lots of them on the census. Okay, number 3 on the list is Harvey Comics Library number 1. This one is actually known as Teenage Dope Slaves. This is from Harvey, 1952. This one is kind of notorious as well because it was mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent. And the reason it was mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent is it's a drug issue. It's, you see these teens and they're actually shooting up in the book. There's hypodermic needles shown. It is a notorious book. Wortham basically took issue to it, even though it's an anti-drug book. He took issue because he thought it actually taught kids how to use drugs, and that he had issues with. It has Marvis Bradley and Edgington cover. Frank Ensington cover. And yeah, this is an interesting sale because it was a 5.5 that sold. And sold for $3,650. Um, Now, the previous record for this sale was back in 2015 for $990. So it's been a while since this book has come up for sale. But this one is kind of in line with actually a 6.0 that had just recently sold back in 2023 for $5,280. So this book has been really going up within the last couple of years, and I think people are just discovering it and realizing how cool of a book it is. Definitely one that's quite hard to find and commands quite a lot of money, even in lower grades. There are 79 of these on the census, and 74 of them are universal blue labels. Number 2 on the list is Phantom Lady number 14. This is from Fox, 1947. It is a Matt Baker cover. It's a headlight cover as well, and contains lingerie panels. It just has a lot of stuff going for it. This is one of those great Matt Baker covers where he did work on Phantom Lady. His Phantom Lady covers are highly desired by Matt Baker collectors, and this is one of the better ones. This was a 5.5 that sold, and it sold for a best offer, again, another best offer one, for the original price was $47.50, and the best offer that was taken was $4,300. Now, this is a massive record for this book because the previous record for this book was set back in 2021 for $2,150. So basically double. It's just the person doubled their money in 2 years. Not too bad for this book. There are 60 of these on the census, and 55 of them are universal blue labels. And we're now down to the last one, which is number 1 on the list, and it is Green Lantern number 1. This is from DC Comics 1941. It is Howard Perel cover, and it is the origin of the Green Lantern retold. It is also the first titled book for Green Lantern, and it also has interesting photos of Marston in it. Moulton Marston, the guy who actually created Wonder Woman. There's a picture of him inside, which is kind of interesting. This was an interesting sale again. This was another best offer on eBay for $4.0. And the original price was $11,000, and they took a best offer of $10,000, which is a major discount because the recent sale for this book was set back. The recent record for this book was set back in 2023 for $13,200. That sale was a little bit strange because of a bit of an outlier. There was actually a sale back in 2020 for $7,800, and that seemed more in line with the general trend for this book. So it's just a kind of an outlier sale where it was just this massive $13,000 sale, and this book kind of brings it back into the actual trend line for this book. So I think this is within the trend line. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a steal because it is down compared to the record, but it's more in line with the overall trend for this book. There are 127 of these on the census, and 86 of them are universal blue labels. And that's it. Those are the hottest Golden Age books of the week. I hope you enjoyed this list. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And what did you think of this list? Do you have any of the books on this list? And thanks for watching. Bye.